What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to J.Craft's Garage. Well, after a few months of taking care of mechanical work and some family stuff, I am back at it again, making some videos. This time we are working on another project vehicle. This time it's a 2008 Dodge Charger with an engine issue. Let's get into it and let's see how big of an issue this problem is for this 2008 Dodge Charger. So here's our next project that we are working on. This is a 2008 Dodge Charger. Yep, it's been around for a little bit. And what we're going to do is pull this motor out. Yeah, sorry to make y'all sad. It's only a 2.7 in it. This motor here is no bueno. They had overheated it and now there's no compression on all the cylinders. So we're going to pull this motor out and put that motor back in. Yeah, we're doing the same engine back in it. Yeah, I wish we could put a Hemi or something else in it, but customer wants the same engine back in it, so we're going to start taking stuff apart and get this motor out. Well, moving along a little further, we've gotten the coolant drained out of it, and as you can see, I got the radiator fan or the cooling fans out of it. They're sitting over there with all the mumbo jumbo of wires that go with it for some reason. Got the power steering pump off. Got the alternator off of it. I'm trying to take off all the accessories without even disconnecting any of the hoses or lines or things like that. Moved the wiring harness to the back. Took off the plenum off the top to make it a little more easier to get the engine out. Now I'm working on a few more things. Got the exhaust to do, got the bolts to take off the bell housing. Got to take the bolts out of the torque converter. I'm going to take the starter out. Starter's back here, down over there. And we're just working on getting the rest of the stuff disconnected to get this motor out of this Charger. Here we go. Well, we spent the better part of the day yesterday getting everything all disconnected and getting the engine out. That's what it looks like out of the vehicle. It's no good anymore, like I mentioned earlier. So we're going to swap some stuff and add some more parts and get it all ready to go. Get the other motor ready to go to put back into the vehicle and get it running. I still got to pick up some more parts for this thing. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the fan situation, and then I found a whole bunch of other bolts that weren't supposed to be where they're supposed to be, or loose or missing, and things of that nature. So I'm going to go back the way everything should be, because I want the customer to be happy with the job. Plus, I want to be able to sleep at night and have everything the way it should be and working like it is supposed to on this vehicle. I mean, the customer is spending a lot of money. They already spent a lot of money buying the vehicle, and now this happened to it with the engine, and now it's kind of a big fiasco, but they're willing to put a little bit of money into it, which is cheaper than getting a decently used vehicle off of a lot or buying a brand new one. So we're going to get this one all back together and working, and then drive it around for a little bit and see how it does. So before we put the used motor that we got into the vehicle, there's a few things that I did with it before we get it to run. Being a used engine out of a vehicle, who knows, what condition it's in. Even though the salvage yard showed me a video of it running and in the vehicle and everything like that, it's been a few months. Now, this thing does turn over, and so far it's looking pretty good. We cleaned it up a little bit to make it look presentable. We don't want it to look like trash inside of a fairly decent car. And also, we replaced things like the spark plugs, the boots. I'm putting a new temperature sensor in it. I put a new oil pressure sensor. And then there's other stuff that we got to swap over to this engine from the other engine, like a motor mount, in order for this thing to work. So we've been doing a few things to it. the big problem that I had, I guess the most major issue that I had, was right here with the thermostat housing. Thermostat housing itself was fine. We got the thermostat and the gasket for it. But for this tube that connects into it, there's an O-ring. Now, on the previous engine, this tube had an O-ring and had sealer with it as well. It was the wrong O-ring. It was a big fat O-ring, and it was leaking on the previous engine. So I didn't really want to go to like O'Reilly's or Zone or CarQuest or any places like that to get an O-ring, because who knows on the aftermarket side, if that O-ring is like a 50-50 shot if it's going to work or not. So what I did was I got with the dealer and gave him the VIN number and told him exactly what O-ring that I needed. I even brought the parts to him and showed him, hey, I need this O-ring for here, coolant pipe that goes all the way to the back of the engine for the lines that come from the heater core. So they're able to get me that O-ring and find it and locate it. It took about 4 days to get that O-ring from the time that I ordered it all the way to the time that I got it. And that little O-ring is $16 just for that little O-ring to go on that pipe. So yeah, it's stuff like this. It's, you want to get it together. You want to put it in the car. You want to get it to run, see how this car runs and everything. But one little thing can just slow the whole project down. But we got everything together, got the O-ring in, got everything like it should be on the engine. And now we're going to put it in the car and hook everything up and bolt everything together and see how this engine runs. Now, one thing that had happened with this vehicle was with the cooling fans. I found that the cooling fans were connected directly to the battery or to the electrical system in the car. They had cut the connector off and just ran a positive and a ground wire and had a fuse in it, and to where the batteries or where the fans stay on all the time. That I had to redo. So luckily, I found some fan motors and some fan blades and the wiring harness and everything to connect back up to this car, because I want everything to be working like it should in this vehicle. I know, it's going to take a little while longer, to figure everything out, but I know I don't want this car to come back to me and have issues with it down the road, or even giving the customer a car that's only been, half done. So we're going to put the fans back in and connect them up and see if they work and see how everything works as well. So as you can see here, after the bumper cover got pulled off, it had been in a wreck and bent up the reinforcement. We're installing the engine here back into the vehicle and getting everything hooked up and connected the way it should be on the engine. There's this housing on top of the engine. It's a bleeder housing, and underneath of it, it's got a couple of O-rings that will give up and fail at time after time on these engines. As you can see on this one here that we got from the salvage yard, it is bubbling and leaking and everything. So we had to pull off this housing and get it all fixed up. And now we got it all back together and working. Even got the fans to work and got all the rat's nest of wires out of the way. I put different fans in it, different fan motors in it, as well as a new or a different wiring harness from a different vehicle. That way everything should be connected the way it should be on this vehicle. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody watching. I know this project took a little bit longer than I wanted to do, but sometimes some things happen, and you just got to roll with the punches and try to figure out what's going on. I hope everybody is well. Hope everybody is safe. If you like what I'm bringing to the channel, with the different vehicles, as well as going to Copart and checking out all sorts of different used vehicles, hit some likes down in the comment section down below and all that, and let me know what your thoughts are about whatever you see here on the channel. Again, I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody is safe, and look forward to seeing y'all right here on the next video.